Free Iran. It's been a long road, and there's still a few more miles to travel, and the road has been littered by the blood of your sons and daughters, fathers and mothers, relatives, friends. That book contains 20,000. There have been over 120,000 that have been martyred, and it's to them that we owe where we are today. So let's just take a moment to think about them, because we wouldn't be here today without them. We also wouldn't be here today without the leadership of Madam Rajvi through the difficult times and the good times and the horrible times. She's always remained hopeful that we could stand up and say, free Iran. Well, we now can do that. We can see the world beginning to turn its eye on Iran and seeing it realistically. We can see being able to convince the world that there are no moderate members of the present Iranian regime. When I hear the word moderate, and I hear the name Rouhani, I think of the fact that he has actually killed more people in Iran than Ahmadinejad. Maybe he shouldn't be so moderate. He's a complete phony. He presents a moderate image to the world and to the Iranian people. He is a violent, vicious murderer, so they are afraid of him. As Madam Rajvi said, it is long past time to declare the Revolutionary Guard a terrorist organization. They have on their hands the blood of so many of your people, but they have on their hands the blood of my people, too, who they helped to kill in Iraq, and who they've helped to kill for years, and who they've held hostage. If they're not a terrorist organization, there is no such thing as a terrorist organization, and we should declare them a terrorist organization so we can cut them off for support around the world. And time has come for regime change in Iran. When we were going through what was called the Arab Spring, and we overthrew Mubarak, and we overthrew Gaddafi, I consistently asked the question, if we're doing that, why aren't we overthrowing the Ayatollah? Were they worse than the Ayatollah? Was Mubarak worse than the Ayatollah? And we supported that overthrow, and the world community made the people who did that persons of the year. Was Gaddafi worse than the Ayatollah? He's a really bad man, but he had given up his weapons of mass destruction. He was completely neutered. He was kind of useless. And we got rid of him. The two of them together can't even come close to the number of people the Ayatollah has murdered, to the number of atrocities that he's performed, and to what the Iranian regime has done to its people and to other people, including my countrymen. And that's why there is nothing radical, there's nothing extraordinary. It's just a matter of common sense and self-defense that we say there must be regime change in Iran. They will just rebel. Maybe a few years ago, when they rose up, if we had a leader like we had under Ronald Reagan when the people of Poland rose up, if we had a leader who had merely said, "We support you," it might have happened. Well, we support you. And it is our job not to affect regime change in Iran. That's going to happen. It's to make it happen now. In our lifetime. So we can come back here next year or the year after, and we can celebrate. And we can celebrate in Iran, and we can celebrate all around the world a free Iran based on the principles that you and I and our countries share. Now, we overthrew these other governments, Mubarak and Gaddafi, and we had no idea what we were going to replace them with. What did we get in Egypt? The Muslim Brotherhood. Worse than Gaddafi. Thank goodness they've been overthrown, but through no help of ours. What did we get in Libya? A homeland for terrorists, and the loss of 4 brave Americans, including our ambassador. In this case, there's something different. We have an alternative. Not only do we have regime change, but we have an alternative, and that alternative is you. It's a democratic alternative. It's a force for change. It's well organized. It has popular support. And it has a vast network of supporters. And whoever doesn't believe that, I ask them to do 2 things. Take a look at how many of your fellow compatriots are murdered by the regime. Think of how frightened the regime in Iran is of the MEK. That will tell you how strong you are. And second, come and look at this gathering from all around the world. And once this gets started, it won't just be the MEK. It'll be all those people in Iran, that 90% or 95% or 96 or 97 or maybe 98% who you know are yearning for the same thing you're yearning for. They want freedom. They want control over their own lives. They want to be able to speak freely. And they want to practice their religion the way they want to, not the way the government tells them. You know your own people better than I do. And you know that's what's in their heart. And it's the murder and the oppression of the government that is stopping that from happening. And we have to break that loose. And supporting the MEK is one of the reasons and one of the ways to break that loose under the leadership of a great hero, Madam Rajvi. I'm happy that I'm here today because I truly believe what I've said and what Madam Rajvi said and what many of the speakers are going to say, that a free Iran is on the horizon. But I'm happiest to be here because finally I can say, and I can probably say this with a good deal of authority, that the government of the United States supports you. We're behind you. We agree with your values. The government of the United States understands the danger of Iran. The government of the United States will not allow Iran to become an empire in the Middle East. And the United States of America will not allow Iran to become a nuclear power under any circumstances. This is the first time I could stand here. This is the first time I could stand here and feel proud of my government. Every other time I stood here, I was embarrassed for the cowardice, for the denial, for the unwillingness to see Iran for what it was. And finally, I can stand here and say, you, I, my government, and your leadership, we see Iran in exactly the same way. The regime is evil, and it must go.